This program is presented by the Sarawak Tourism Board. Sarawak, the gateway to Borneo.
On this week's Hot List, internet indignity. A prominent religious leader questions a presidential friendship. Was the government right in deleting his post? Stormy weather, why climate change can't be forgotten as Indonesia gets buried in disasters. And getting off. Why does Indonesia nearly lead the world in holidays? Hello and welcome. This is Hot Indonesia. I'm Dalton Tanonaka in Jakarta. Here now are my co-hosts. Yenny Wahid is director of the Wahid Foundation, which promotes pluralism. She is the second daughter of the fourth president of Indonesia. Sandy is out this week. Sitting in for him is Dian Paramita, digital organizer for 350.org and a social activist. Hot topic number one, internet indignity. For a prominent religious and political leader, it was an eye-raising YouTube post last week. Amin Rais said the relationship between President Prabowo Subianto and Teddy Indra Wijaya is dangerous because the cabinet secretary is, quote, gay. Rais urged the president to fire Wijaya and replace him with a, quote, normal figure. The post was gone the next day. The government said the video contained slander and hate speech. Now, you guys know, I think, we don't normally deal with allegations such as this, and being gay is not a crime in itself here in Indonesia, although same-sex acts are illegal in certain jurisdictions. My concern here, the larger issue, is the free speech situation. Unless there is a call to violence or an outright lie, I say the government was wrong in taking down posts it doesn't like. Yenny, where do you stand?
I think if the intended effect by the government is to stop the spread of the content, then it is counterproductive. What happened is that it just goes viral now. It's everywhere.
Drew more attention to it, as it always does.
The Streisand, Barbara Streisand effect. I don't know whether you've heard of that. So
yeah, when she made a comment about something.
But her house being photographed, and she filed a lawsuit to have it removed. Before the people who watched that the photos, it's only like 6 times, but then after that, like
always draws more
thousands.
attention to it. There are legal recourses, and that's what we're talking about here. The government says it will pursue them in this case, and that's okay. File a defamation charge. But to remove a post, Dian, don't you agree that opens the door to free speech issues?
Yes, it's very ridiculous. This topic is very ridiculous. First, Amin Rais started this video using religion, using hadiths about moral and also about ethics. But in that video, he's actually discriminating a community which is LGBTQ. It's not what he's talking about moral, but he's being immoral and being unethical in this video. And it's not important whether you're gay or not. Working in a public office, whether you're gay or not, it doesn't matter. We only see how your competence, how your performance, or your integrity, and being gay doesn't mean at all.
Yeah, and that's a different issue. I mean, I'm not talking about the gender or the sexual choice issue, but and we'll get to that. I want to ask you more detail. But Yenny, could this be at all political, you think? Because Amin Rais backed the president's rival in the last election, and the implications of the post was that the president was looking too friendly with his subordinates. So, and that's subjective. And we talked about this. Those in public service must have thick skins.
Absolutely. It is, of course, it is very political. It is very political. And as we all know here, when it comes to the issues of Sara is about religious issues, about race issues, and anything to do with all of those. It's very sensitive issues in Indonesia. It's very sensitive topics, ones that could rile up people's emotions. When it comes to morality, Indonesians sometimes can be very emotional. So I think he deliberately tried to touch on that sensitive topics, taboo issues, just to provoke people's reactions. And unfortunately, the government took the bait. in a way that is overreacting, in my opinion.
He knew what he was doing when he posted this.
He knew what he was doing. I mean, we've known Amin Rais for quite a while. You know, we've been on the opposite side of.
He ran for president a few years ago, right? Or was on the
He
ticket?
did, but
Also
you know,
supported Prabowo in
he
2014.
supported Prabowo before,
Yeah.
against Jokowi.
Yeah.
Before, so you know, he claimed to have been a very good relations with Prabowo. So, but everyone knows that you know, most of his actions are very politically motivated. So, of course, it is motivated. It is political. So the government needs to be on the higher ground in a way, right? I mean, they should not respond to that kind of level of agitation.
I mean, the communications minister responded, and other ministers responded. I mean, you like you said, if you ignore it, maybe it wouldn't have half the views, and people might not even have seen it.
Well, it could be like low-level government officials who could respond to that.
Okay, Dian, now besides your vocal climate change advocacy, you as you said, you've been a supporter, defender of LGBTQ rights. And you said it really shouldn't matter if we're talking about the subject matter itself, what a person's sexuality choices are. In America, they had an openly gay cabinet member. Why does it matter so much here, in your opinion?
Because we are a very religious country, which makes sense, but sometimes people cannot really differentiate the religion and being faithful to God and being nice to human beings. And I think sometimes people use religion for power, as Islam is the biggest
Majority religion? Sure.
yeah. So I mean, is using that so that people can see, oh, there's a flaw in this cabinet, and the flaw is about their sexuality, which doesn't matter. So he used that for it's a very irrelevant and misleading about more priority issues in Indonesia.
But this is not just about amongst the Muslim community. I mean,
Yeah.
If I can chime in, right? Across religious boards, across religious adherence, many people actually came to me on the issue of LGBT and race concerns, the churchgoers and others. So Indonesians in general are very, again, moral and religious, but they take religious very, very seriously, and sometimes in a way that is not in alignment with the real message of religion itself, which is about humanity, it's about compassion, it's about protecting others, protecting all of God's creations. So
some use it as for their own purposes, and we're not saying Amin Rais did that, but let me say that neither the president nor the cabinet secretary has commented publicly so far in this week. Amin Rais, his religious party, says it's ready to go to court if necessary. Okay, Hot Indo will...
he's waiting for that.
Oh, you really?
He's waiting, of course.
Okay.
There's so many
political strategy, yeah.
There's so many important problems like child pornography, online gamble, but the government is more.
Yeah, it takes
Focus
away
more on
their
this.
And
take
forgot
away their
about
attention
Yes.
to more important subjects. Okay, Hot Indo will continue shortly with stormy weather. Why climate change is hitting Indonesia hard.
Everything is good. Everything is good.
Kentanala sendiri merupakan sebuah brand fashion aksesoris yang kita menggunakan limbah kayu pabrik furniture sebagai bahan dasar dari pembuatan produk-produk kami. Banyak sekali hal-hal yang memang kita masih belajar, disitulah dirapihin sama Bu Reni. Bikin laporan keuangan, ada akhirnya momen untuk kita bisa presentasi langsung sama Pak Sandi Uno. Secara omset kita bisa naik lebih dari 80%.
You are watching Hot Indonesia with Yenny, Dian, and me. Here's hot topic number 2, stormy weather. We seem to have more than our share of natural disasters, from deadly landslides in Bandung to the ongoing threat of massive forest fires in South Sumatra. Indonesia is getting hit hard. Scientists say climate change is part of the reason. When we burn fossil fuels for industry and energy, gases emitted cause global temperatures to rise and other weather disturbances. Now, attention on this critical issue to me seems to come in waves, usually ahead of a global event such as a COP, like the Conference of Parties held in Brazil last year. Dian, your expertise as a key person in Indonesia working with 350.org, which focuses on this issue, why isn't or doesn't seem to be a sustained interest in this global problem?
Because the topic is very hard topic. First, it's not a natural disaster. It's a climate disaster. Natural disaster is like earthquake, tsunami, or volcano erupted. But climate disaster is like flooding in Sumatra.
It's an unnatural disaster.
It's unnatural. It's a human-made disaster.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. Good.
And we can solve it. But do the government want to solve it? Because most of the people in the government are linked with the fossil fuels industry. The solution for climate change is to switch or phase out from fossil fuels and transition to 100% renewable energy like wind, micro hydro, and solar. But they're not doing that because most of the people who are in the industry, in the business, are also in the government or in DPR. So of course they don't want to phase out. Of course,
DPR is, of course, Parliament.
Yeah.
My point is, though, no one's trying to suppress interest in this. I mean, why aren't there more events? Why aren't there more talk about this problem? And it seems to be ahead of certain events. Now, issues like rising sea levels, of course, extreme weather, ocean warming affecting fish. These are life-impacting situations, and we're seeing it now, not 50 years from now, Yen.
Yeah. But also, Dalton, we also need a honesty in the global conversation. Honesty and fairness also in the conversation about these issues.
What do you mean?
Because if you look at the data, and I've got the data here, actually, many countries pointing fingers at countries like Indonesia, for example, for emitting many carbon dioxides, right? But what is actually happening is actually the U.S., for example, emits more carbons per year in total and per capita than countries like Indonesia. So the U.S., I've got the data, the emissions is 5 to 5.5 billion tons per year.
Okay.
Whereas Indonesia, 0.7 billion tons per year. And that's the total. And the oil consumption, the U.S., 20 million barrels per day. Indonesia, 1.5 million per barrel per day. And the per capita emissions is the U.S., 14 to 15 tons per person per year. Indonesia is only 2 to 3 tons per person per year.
So you're saying a superpower like the U.S. is kind of playing it down because they're the biggest violator?
Yeah, I mean, pointing fingers at just one party is not going to solve the problem. What we need is cooperation. So developed countries need to focus on reducing emissions, while developing countries like Indonesia need to focus more on sustainable growth. Making the transitions to green energy, and planting more trees and doing stuff like that instead of pointing fingers at each other.
No, I understand, but that should be a year-round thing rather than just highlighted every quarter, or we think about it. Oh yeah, climate change. You know what I mean? People tend to forget it. They have their daily lives, but this will affect everybody in the future. Dion, what should we or ordinary people, if you can call it that, do to help the situation? Can individual efforts help, or must we support groups like 350.org?
Well, this is a systemic problem. For example, we don't have any choice. Our choice is only using coal for our electricity in Indonesia. We have so many potential using renewable energy because we have a lot of sun. We're living in the island. There's so many wind. There's so many.
Nuclear is coming?
Nuclear is not really good, so I only support
okay.
three.
But I'm talking about energy sources.
Yeah. But
In a disaster-prone area like Java, could be disastrous.
That's another problem, in itself.
First, to understand the issue, most of people doesn't know climate change is caused by fossil fuel, burning fossil
We're kind of
fuels.
helpless in that situation. We can't control what fossil fuels are burned and the amount, right?
We can if we demand the system,
Better
demand
regulations,
the
right?
government to phase out fossil fuels to renewable energy, and they keep talking about that. In
But
G20,
there's this Just Energy Transition Fund, right?
Yeah.
That helps companies to transition towards a greener energy.
But
this
it
is a good
doesn't-
incentive.
It doesn't work. It's not working anymore. I was in the conversation. It looks like the richer country helping developed country to have a transition, but actually just lending money with interest. So we still have to have a lot of money to do transition, and the solution is actually taxing the polluters. The polluters are the one who's responsible for the disaster, and they are the one who get benefit from this, but they never be obligated to pay a lot of money for the impacted area, for the impacted people, and to transition. If we collect all the money from tax, only 5% to the 50 most richest people in Indonesia, we will get a lot of money from that for energy transition, for the impacted people in Sumatra. So
For the free lunch.
for the free lunch,
Yenny, every show you bring, we gotta hit that in. But it's hard. You can't get money from the wealthy individuals like that directly. I mean,
can. In New York, they're doing it.
Okay.
Tax
Here
the
it's
players.
almost impossible.
Make it expensive, basically, to
Yeah.
pollute the environment, right?
Yeah, make a tax. Just give them tax. Not only us, the middle class people. We only getting a coffee, we get tax. Getting a beer, get
Hey.
tax.
Everything.
And even
No,
my income
I
as
understand your
well.
point. I mean,
Yeah.
it must be a collective effort, not just against certain individuals or groups. Now, critics, got to talk about this. Critics of climate change focus on what they say is flawed science, and you've heard this, and the economic impact of change, from fossil fuels. Yenny, where do you sit on this, and do you all listen to what the critics say?
I do, but we are looking at empirical evidences around us. We see floods more, we see dry seasons more longer, unpredictable
Heavier
climates now,
rains,
heavy
yeah.
rains. What else? All kinds of disasters that did not happen before. So it's, you can have all this data, but if people actually feeling it, you cannot ignore that as well. And also, with data now, it really depends who sponsors the data collection.
Yeah, the
as
people
well.
being buried in landslides or getting affected, they're not looking at data, they're feeling it every day. And in
absolutely.
Indonesia, my point was, we're getting it a lot more. We're such a big country, a lot of underdeveloped infrastructure, we're feeling it more. Okay, well, by the way, the UN Climate Change Conference this year, COP31, takes place in November in Turkey. Are you going? No, you
hope
don't
so.
attend. Okay, you hope so. All right. More Hot Indo is ahead. Getting off. Why do we get so many holidays here?
aku ngelihat bahwa masih banyak hewan peliharaan yang itu tuh masih menggunakan produk-produk manusia, dan aku menginisiasi Anima supaya bisa menghasilkan obat-obatan untuk hewan. Ikut program Indonesia itu di pertengahan tahun gitu. Waktu aku konsultasikan, mereka sangat mendukung gitu kan untuk bisa mengekspansi pasar ini ke luar Jabodetabek atau luar Jawa lah gitu kan.
Setiap organisasi memiliki potensi yang besar yang menunggu untuk dibangkitkan. Pradaim didirikan oleh para ahli bersertifikasi. Kami hadir untuk mengembangkan mindset dan keterampilan manusia dengan kurikulum custom, interactive learning, dan metode coaching yang relevan dengan kebutuhan perusahaan. Hasilnya adalah perubahan nyata dalam performa, komunikasi, dan budaya kerja.
Paradigm. We don't teach, we educate.
You're watching Hot Indonesia from Jakarta. Hot topic number 3, getting off. Now, we all love having a holiday, but some countries have more than others, a lot more, including Indonesia. India always tops the list with more than 30 public holidays each year. Indonesia is either second or third, depending on the list, with more than 20 days off. This month alone, there are 4 holidays, and just for comparison, the U.S. in all has 11 federal holidays each year. Yenny, why?
Why? Actually, I want to take a different approach to this, right? The more holidays is actually better for me. But also, there's another nuances when you look at these issues, because most of the holidays here are religious holidays. It's actually a symbol of religious diversity. All
not just one religion,
not just one religion, not just Christmas, for example, not just Idul Fitri, Ramadan,
not just Vaisak
just Vaisak, but all religions that is acknowledged by the country, by the state.
That's the reason. That's the reason
why we
why.
celebrate it, and we'll have holiday on that.
So it's an example of our diversity that we have so many holidays, but that's a good excuse to have so many holidays.
But we don't have like one long stretch of holiday like the Europeans, for example.
That's a different thing. That's like paid leave. Their vacations are 2 to 3 months sometimes.
Exactly. So
we take them in little dribs and drabs, 2 days here, 3 days there.
Yes.
Some on social media are saying that having so many holidays hurts our country's economic output. That's an argument to make. But Dian, you're also an entrepreneur. You have a nail salon in Yogyakarta. If you're ever there, Yenny, check it out. Do your people work on holidays?
No. I want to give them the right to
that's
rest.
a good thing. But your opinion on the holiday situation, too many, too little, enough?
I agree with Yenny. I'm very proud to be Indonesian. We're the biggest Muslim populated country in the world, but we recognize 6 religions. One of them is thanks to Gus Dur, Konghucu joined to be recognized, and it shows diversity. It shows that we are a very rich country, very respectful country with all of the belief in this country.
But you see the argument against so many holidays. People are not really observing the holiday in the strictest sense of observing somebody else's faith.
Go on a holiday.
Yeah, just go to the park or go to Ancol or go wherever,
But maybe this is tied to the survey that we talked about before, in the issue of survey, but the happiness in workspace for Indonesians. That's probably one of the reasons why Indonesians are happy workers, because of so many holidays that we
One of the happiest people in the world.
It reduces the mental fatigue.
Okay, I don't mind the holidays because, it does honor the different groups and races and religions. But what Indonesia does in particular, and I don't know any other country, they add days to it, which is called Cuti Bersama, meaning if it's on a Thursday, you add a Friday holiday. You just make up a holiday. That's not cool, I think.
A total.
Right?
Yeah. It's a paid leave.
Yeah, I understand if the companies are frustrated about this because they want the workers to be more productive.
Want them at the office if you can, or
yeah, but But other examples in global, in other country, rich country, they actually reduce workers' work hours to 4 days in week, and it doesn't cause anything. Productivity. The economy is still very good. They're still thriving.
People learn to adjust, right, on the new rhythm.
Yeah, but I think it's because they have strategy in working, not working more, but working better. They know the strategy in how to work efficiency than just exploiting your workers.
You sound like, an owner of a business now. I've known you a bit, and you've changed a little. In fact, I was just going to say this. Last week, if you remember, I said we should cut down the number of years for a university degree from 4 to 3. I was going to pitch, before you brought it up even, that we should cut down the average work week from 5 to 4, and I bet productivity wouldn't change because the technology and our habits out of COVID, and the better balance of life will make them more happier to work hard 4 days.
Yes.
Do we agree? So,
and more focus when they're in the workplace.
I think everyone would love a 3-day weekend as well as a 4-day work week. And I think countries are moving to that, as you said. Some.
I have that.
The government, actually the government is doing that.
Taking people stay at home, right?
Stay at home.
Yeah.
I mean, the main reason is, of course, because of the Hormuz trade, because of the energy issues, right? Because of the Iran tension. But still, I mean, if the government adopts that, then it becomes such a wide scale changes to the workforce in a way, because the government's still one of the biggest employers in Indonesia.
It is feedback time now, and Saka posted this on Instagram after our focus on the Prabowo-Trump bromance. Fascinating discussion. I couldn't help but laugh when Yenny said her father would have handled Trump like a child. and Denby said the foreign leader he admires most is Zoran Mandami. He's just the mayor of New York, but you can see the results of his work. Here's how to contact us with your feedback. Email at hotindo@theindonesiachannel.world or comment through our Hot Indonesia or Indonesia Channel X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. Final words, Yenny.
The emperor wears no clothes. It is a tale, but we still see that happening around the world now, and where leaders surround themselves with yes men, yes people, and they ended up not having the real pictures on the ground, and ended up making mistakes in policy deliberations. So it's very important that leaders have a mechanism in which they know everything, what's going on, the good news, the bad news, so they can make informed decisions that is better for the population.
Wonder who she's talking about. Okay, final words, Dian.
In a democratic country, there are only two powers. One is organized money, and the other one is organized people. And organized money, like oligarch, can only win if people aren't organized. So let's organize, speak up more, get to community, take care of each other, and we will. The history shows that if we organize, we will win against the oligarch or the bad people up there. Maju terus perjuangan.
And my final words, several women were celebrated recently by the iNews Media Group at the Women's Inspiration Awards 2026 for being leaders and change makers. Standing tall that day, Yenny Wahid. She turned the honor away from herself, as usual, to pay tribute to everyday women who work in and out of their homes. She said, quote, "Keep fighting, because to me, all of you are valuable." That was a nice moment. And that's Hot Indonesia for this week. For Yenny Wahid and Dian Paramita, I'm Dalton Tanonaka. Thank you for watching, and please join us again next time.
This program is presented by the Sarawak Tourism Board. Sarawak, the gateway to Borneo.